The Baltimore Children and Youth Fund is almost exclusively backed by taxpayer money, but operates as a nonprofit.
The Spotlight on Maryland's Patrick Huff continues to investigate into how the Youth Fund is partnering with Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott.
Baltimore City sends $16 million taxpayer dollars in the new fiscal year to BCYF, which is headed by Alicia Lee. The newly passed city budget shows that BCYF then sends about $7 million of those funds to the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. MOED then sends $2 million of those funds to the Summer Funding Collaborative Program, which is overseen by a nonprofit called Baltimore's Promise, whose board includes Mayor Scott and BCYF President Lee. So why do your tax dollars flow like this? The answer is unclear.
There's always risks of conflict of interest in just about everything that involves nonprofits.
Brian Mittendorf is a professor at Ohio State University, where he specializes in nonprofit finances. He said Mayor Scott and BCYF President Lee should explain why it's necessary for taxpayer dollars to move through so many different entities.
So if you're acting as a board member for a particular nonprofit, you have to act in the best interest of the goals of that nonprofit. And if you're also serving in other roles and there's a web of connections, it becomes kind of a blurred boundary as to whose priorities you're enacting.
Mayor Scott and Lee did not respond to the following questions. Why does the mayor's office need money from BCYF for the Summer Funding Collaborative Program? Is it a conflict of interest to send money to the program when it's administered by an organization whose board you sit on? Baltimore's Promise oversees SFC by helping public and private funders identify local youth programs in need. Julia Baez, the CEO of Baltimore's Promise, said that her organization is the administrative backbone of SFC, but does not directly handle the program's money. She told Spotlight on Maryland, quote, "It is standard and expected for mayors and public sector leaders to serve on the boards of these types of organizations." Baez has a listed salary of more than $220,000 at Baltimore's Promise. Lee's listed compensation at BCYF is more than $200,000. BCYF recently announced a $112,500 grant sent directly to Baltimore's Promise to help run SFC. Plus, the Youth Fund sent millions of taxpayer dollars to SFC in recent years on its own, leaving Mittendorf puzzled as to why they need to allocate the funds through the mayor's office this year.
I would put it in the mystery category.
The professor said moving taxpayer money between different organizations may lead to unnecessary overhead spending, and it's hard to track just how much that is.
The other cost is a transparency one. Again, even if it's not intentional, we lose sight of the money trail. It's very hard for the public to see where the money's going if it's kind of going to this whole web of entities.
Now, this connection between different nonprofits and board members is not an isolated example. We previously reported on how half of BCYF's board members are tied directly to Mayor Scott. We'll continue to investigate how nonprofits spend your taxpayer money. For Spotlight on Maryland, I'm Patrick Huff.